G'day guys and welcome to the Centre Bounds for my round 14 team review for how I did, and in what is a consistent message, really consistent story of my season. It is not the worst and also not the best. We scored 2085 and it hurt actually because this score could and should have been a bit better than what it ended up being, and you will see momentarily why. So 2085, we cracked the 2000 once again, which is not bad in a bye round. And again, we slowly, very briefly, go up the rankings a little bit by 461. 8 out of 11 league wins goes to show that it wasn't the worst, again, sort of performance. It was a tough one. And we're now edge even closer to the top 1%. We are now in the top 2%. We were 3 last week. So we have cracked now into the top 2% for the first time in a long, long time. And that means that the team is actually doing surprisingly well, considering the fact that we have had absolutely cooked cash generation. Now, you will remember last week, hopefully, that we freed up lots of money last week. Lots and lots of money because we did some big moves last week. So the last 2 weeks has been cash sort of saving mode, not cash creation mode, because we haven't had cash generation from the rookies. So 2 weeks ago, we traded out Gorn to TDK to free up quite a bit of money. In these moves, obviously, marriage had to be corrected as well, and that was extra solidified. So we ended up going from 46,000 week before to end up having 225,000. And then last week, we made some further trades. Using that big money that we had, we were able to get Lindsay to Johnson and Sardis up to Butters. But for extra good measure, we decided we'd trade out Goldstein as well to McCarthy because Goldstein had a really high break even of 99, proceeds to score 111. Mate, where did this come from? I know it was against Geelong, positive matchup, but they had both Stanley and Blixarves, and you weren't doing too great the previous 2 weeks. You managed to eke out 109 against Samson Ryan in round 11, and English torched him with a 40. So it's been not the greatest stretch, and all of a sudden it turns into prime Goldstein in this game, and I couldn't believe it. He waited for me to trade him out before he turned it on. But Vigo Vizentini is going to be debuting, so potentially a rest for old Gold. But regardless, thank you very much for your service. By dropping you down all the way to McCarthy, we have $380,000 in the bank. That's a lot of money. And we were planning on fielding McCarthy. Alas, we did not. McCarthy is on the bench and Clark is on the field. This is so tragic. The concern was potentially McCarthy was going to be the sub, and he was the last game of the round, and there was nothing I could do by that stage to get his score. I had him as emergency, but unfortunately, this was a week where none of my defenders were on the bye. So I had McCarthy at the flex, having downgraded Goldie to him, and I was intending on fielding him, but the concern was potentially this guy might be the flex, and so we ended up missing out on 104 points. So this 2085, it hurts. It hurts. And the thing is, I didn't even realize that I had done that, because I'm just seeing McCarthy taking all these kick-ins and be a superstar, and I was so happy, and I was encouraging it, and I was egging it on, and then I'm just like, wait, did I bench him? And then I quickly went to have a look to see if I'd benched him, and I had, and I just completely punched myself so hard in the leg. I actually hurt myself in sheer frustration and anger, but such is the season that I am having, unfortunately. So Holmes, superstar, I was contemplating VCing him. I thought, nah, we brought in the Bond for a reason. And the reason why we brought in the Bond is so that he can just shit all over us and say, sucks Sucks to be you. So yes, the Bont has sucked everybody in and everybody has broken him. Hopefully he can bounce back in a strong fashion against Richmond at Marvel. So Holmes did well, Clark's done well, Whitfield's done very well, Sheasel's done well, Zorko's done well, and Stewart's done well. The back line did excellent, and even my bench in the back line did excellent. Brayshaw with a 130 did great. Butters with a 101. And of course, Big J is calling me, as he always does. Sorry, mate, I'm mid-recording. Brayshaw, Bont, Butters with a 101. It's not the worst because he did cop some attention in this game from Viney. Still cracked the ton, which is excellent. Neil cracked the ton. Hewitt might be a beneficiary of the fact that Walsh is out for some period of time. And I'm very happy that I brought him in because he's just a workhorse, goes under the radar a lot. Dacos had the bye, so we had Johnson's score, which is pretty good. And if only, but even then, even if McCarthy was here and Saad was there, I mean, Johnson was always going to be the emergency. He played he played earlier. He played on, I forgot what day that was, Saturday. So, yeah, that wasn't going to happen. So, yep, Johnson, 84. He's a player. He looks good. We were hyping him up as Bomber supporters. We're really keen to see him play, and he showed us what he got, which is better than Dunkley. Dunks is doing my head in. Unfortunately for him, his role was completely dicked around because of the injury that they had to Payne. He was even playing Hipwood in the back line because they needed a tall back there, and then Dunkley was playing forward. Yeah, the whole thing was just out of whack in the Brisbane lineup, so he unfortunately only got a 76. Sherry 105. You thought he might do better playing up against Fremantle, but they did well. They did well, the Dockers, to shark hitouts. DeConning with a 123. He was on 40 odd at quarter time. You know, basically on track for that. So that's not too bad. DeConning with a 123. He got scaled down. He was 125, then lost 2 points worth of scaling, unfortunately. So 123. Hey, it's over 120. And if that's the case, it's not the worst. Probably should have really contemplated going with Holmes. The issue was I wasn't sure if I should go Holmes or Baz. That was my question. I wasn't sure who I was going to VC. And I felt like whoever I did was just going to pop off. But regardless, if I had VC'd Baz, I wouldn't have taken that score. I still would have rolled the dice with DeConning. But if I had VC'd Holmes, obviously, would have taken that score. So Baz was on 14. Petrarca, 68. Atrocious. Daniel, 80. Not the worst. Rankin, 81. Just quietly, what's the go, bro? Like, bro, you've lost $73.5 thousand. Like, what happened? What's going on? Like, not a single ton since round 8. Like, can you please pull the finger out? Like, and Clark with the 29. Unfortunately, honestly, I feel for this kid. Good country lad, and they've told him, go line up on Jezza Cameron. Poor kid, in his 4th game, told, go play one-on-one on Jeremy Cameron. Honestly. Felt for him. I felt for him. But he's a goer. He's a nugget of pure gold, this country kid. And, you know, his defensive efforts were applauded by Jeremy Cameron. He had a good spoil, and Jeremy Cameron turned around and told him, well done, good stuff. So getting live encouragement and feedback from your opposition is quite remarkable, isn't it? A la Jordan Roughhead in the VFL. So, yes, Angus Clark, that's an experience he won't forget, and hopefully one that he can learn from, and hopefully never be put in that situation again, because he's not supposed to be playing that. He's a winger. As a winger, he's gold. As a one-on-one key defender against the Coleman medalist, that's not going to be good. So this is it. Stone and Gray obviously did not play. Gross and Simpson obviously did not play. So the bench continues to be dead. In fact, on field continues to be dead as well for us in the forward line. So, question, plan, what do we do? I think we want to finish the forward line. Obviously, We don't have a lot of trades. We only have the 6 trades. And to be honest, the reason why I did Goldie to McCarthy, was because I genuinely thought if McCarthy's playing the Marich role moving forward, if a spud like Marich could score 130s in that role, I was anticipating McCarthy to potentially be a decent enough flex. As I've said in the previous video, that the plan was McCarthy could be the flex, and he can give me, and if he can give me over 80 every week, like maybe around a 90, if he can give me a 90 every week in the flex, 90 plus, then I'm wrapped. Then he's someone that I can be perfectly content having as a keeper. He's took like all the kick-ins, which is insane to me. Let's see. Marich at the 1, he lost all of his kick-ins. Where they all go? To Tom McCarthy. 10 kick-ins, 10 play-ons. How sexy is that? So he's the new Ryan Marich. And at 99k, I'm happy to field him in the flex, which means that my plan is to finish off the forward line, F5 and F6. That's who I want. Now, I do have some money for 380k. Chucking it on a stone type is enough to get me 1. It's not enough to get me 2. And with few trades, I'd sort of like to go for the best of the best. So someone like a Horn Francis could be a great option for me. He's already had his bye, and he scored a 136, which is sensational, which would leave me with 1 more forward. And the question of, like, who is the forward that I want to finish off? Who is this forward going to be? It could be a Chad, and it can't be a round 16 player, obviously. It could be a Chad, Warner. Luke Jackson's too expensive at this point. I can't do it. So is Nick Martin. I want someone sub 500k. Absolutely. So if I was to filter by under 500, who are the players that are available? There's Jack McRae, who has a break even of 124. There's Kennedy, but he's always criminally underscored. Cosy Picker's got the bot. There's Sam Darcy. There's Chad Warner. But Sam Darcy is cheaper than Chad Warner. And Sam Darcy, for the rest of the year, he has a break-even of 147. So it's a very high break-even. And for the rest of the year, he plays a lot of games at Marvel. And the thing is, with key forwards, you don't really like them in the wet. But for a lot of these games to come, he is playing in the pristine conditions of Marvel. Sorry, this is the past. I'm an idiot. Marvel. There we go. So he's got quite a few games at Marvel Stadium. Yes, he has one at the SCG, but let's be real, the Swans have no one tall enough to defend him. Brisbane at the Gabba, that can be a write-off. Melbourne MCG, and that's it. So and that'll obviously be a tough matchup against a strong backline. But everything else is a Marvel Stadium game in pristine conditions. So Sam Darcy is probably one that I'm really considering having in my team. He's got Richmond this week. He scored a 113 against them last year. Now, how do I see this playing out? He scored a 108 playing against the Saints, who are a decent backline. Obviously, a Ross Lyon backline is a pretty stingy backline when it comes to giving up points. And Cal Wilkie is a very good defender. So I'm thinking potentially that he scores a similar amount against Richmond. And I just had a quick look at the fixture. It's a 320 game. Oh, you can't properly see it. It's a 320 game at Marvel Stadium between the two of them, between them and Richmond. So that means that Noah Bolter will be available to play. And Noah Bolter is a very serviceable defender. He's very good body work. And I can see him as a similar type to Cal Wilkie. So I can probably see him going about 107 yet again in this game. And so I'm happy to let him do that because he's got a 147. break even. If he goes 107, as expected, he'll drop another 17.6 thousand. But the thing is, the horny one also has a 131 break even. And he's got the Swans this week. Can Horne-Francis go back-to-back 130s, especially now off the back of that injury concern that he's got, the shoulder? Can he go back-to-back 130s? Look, he hadn't even gone 130 at all this year, apart from that one score where he went 150. But other than that, he hadn't even gone 130. What's the chances that he goes 130 back-to-back? I think it's pretty low, personally. So, and also be a chance to look at him play another week with that shoulder to see just how much it's affecting him. So I actually reckon it might be possible for me to not trade in Horne-Francis either this week and simply wait to see how they go this week. Both him and Darcy, they can both lose money and I can trade them both in next week. Now, if I was to do that, for example, let's have a look. So how much money would I need to do that? So if I get Horne-Francis in and O'Connell's got more money on him than Gray, and if I wanted to get Sam Darcy in as well, then I need $192,000 for now at this point in time, right? But how much do I actually need if they go as projected? So Horne-Francis. So if Horne-Francis scores 102 as projected, his price will be 479. So let's say that his 479.2, okay, plus, if I want Sam Darcy, he's 461. Come on. Break even of 147. So if he scores, he's projected 107, it'll be 443.7. So I need 922.9 between the two of them. And I've got 380,500 in the bank. Shit. 922.9 minus 380.5. So I'm going to need $542,000 to facilitate this. How do I do it? Well, I'm going to have to trade out another premium. I'm going to have to access more cash from other places, because none of these rookies have made enough money. Stone and O'Connell were literally my two fattest rookies at this point. It could have been Clark more than Stone if Clark had actually scored more than a 29. His break even still 15. But what I could do is I can say, you know what, Lockie Neal, 125 break even. You've been very up and down for me this year. You've still got a bit of money on you at 545. Hasn't been a great stretch these last few weeks at all. Maybe the buy will help you out. What's your run like as an inside mid? Inside mid by average. Where's Brisbane? It's a negative run. You could cop O'Connor this week, attention. And then you got Port, Carlton. Have they turned the corner? No one knows. The Dogs are a black hole for points. So you know what, Neil, you can go. I can trade out my captain merit, but I just can't bring myself to do it. Plus, you've got more money on you. I can bring the Shays up. And you know what? I can get someone in like Mills. It was on the bubble and could be a fair D6 for me. Okay? Could be a fair D6. So this becomes it. That's the back line. That's the midfield. Rucks. And then the forward line hopefully should work. So if Stone goes, because let's be real, he's not playing. So if Stone goes to the horny one, who hopefully should be a bit cheaper, and say O'Connell goes for Darcy's a bit cheaper, I'm only 3,000 apart. I'm only 3,000 away. And you would hope and you would think that these two guys with their really high break evens can go down 3,000 each. Surely. A break even of 131 and 147, surely you go down 3,000. If you don't, then the universe is rigged. But this becomes the team. The team essentially becomes Holmes, Clark, Whitfield, Zorko, Stewart, Mills, who should get defensive DPP, midfield DPP. Brayshaw, Bont, Butters, Hewitt, Dacos, Merritt, Shazel, Dunks. Sherry, Conning, Smith, Petrarca, Daniel, Rankin, the horny one, Darcy, and McCarthy in the flex, playing the Seagull kick-in role at West Coast. And that becomes the team, which is not too bad. It's not too bad, and it leaves us with 3 trades for the remainder of the year with at least some DPP shenanigans. That's the thing. There's a defender premium here. There's a hopefully a premium scorer here. We've got plenty of mids there. The only issue is none of these guys have forward status. That's the issue that I think that is going to kick me in the butt through the remaining of the season. But this is what we're looking at, and this is what we've been forced to, I think. It's possible that this week I could go full premium if I was to, for example, not get a Horne-Francis or a Darcy and go for someone even cheaper. Like, wait, why does the defender have to be traded in? Oh, wait, because Gray came forward. It could be someone even like, what's his name? What was his name again? Bolton. Oh, can I not afford Bolton? He's 470. Right, if I don't get Horne-Francis because of his shoulder, and I get Shea Bolton and Sam Darcy. I could even do that like right here, right now. Be full premium this week. Start getting full premium scores from this week on. I could do that. I could do that potentially. But that means no horny one. And I think horny one far outclasses Bolton. And Darcy could potentially have a tough game against Noah Bolter, who might. So, yeah. And there's no real need to force it in because I've got 6 playing here. Oh, let's fix that. Chuck an emergency on Lucas. So we've got 6, 8. So 6 plus 8 is 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. We've got 19 players in this week, and 18 of them are premiums. So this is a full backline team. Yes, he's a lower tier premium. I understand that. But he did score a 107 against Richmond without too many CBAs. And you'd think, as Warner and Heaney tire a bit, that he should potentially get more CBAs. Now, of course, they have had the bye. Let's be real. They have had the bye, but what was his? Where is he? Mills. No CBAs. 0 CBAs on the weekend, and he's still tonned up. So you would think as he continues to get more runs in the legs that he will get more CBAs. you would think. It's a risky one. It really is. He's 357. But that's the allure. The allure is he's done it in the past and he's cheap. And I'm strapped for cash. Big time. Is it a perfect team? No. Is it a great team? Probably no, I would say as well. He's done 115, 11200 in a high CBA role. He's done it. Heck, even if he goes 91, look, it's not the best with the occasional spike score. But this is where we find ourselves. So we don't have to necessarily force it. We can hold on to that. We can just do that one move, bring the Shees into the midfield, free up even more cash, and then next week, Stone and Connell both just become Horne-Francis and Darcy, if they are indeed the best possible options. We'll see. The extra sample size gives us that information. In terms of VC and C, could go Hewitt against North, potentially. He did score 171 last time he played, and no one ever puts attention into George. No one puts ever any attention into George. It was always going to go to Cripps. Not that North Melbourne are going to put attention, but I just think George is such a goer. No nonsense. Does dirty work. I reckon George is a fair shout here against North. And then the captain will probably be Bontempelli against Richmond, which can be a bit ballsy considering that the Bont has definitely let us down in recent weeks. But Bont is Bont. He's at Marvel against Richmond, who don't necessarily like playing at Marvel, I don't think, off memory. But that just might be Dimmer Hardwick more than Richmond themselves. So, yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm doing something very risky. What's it like for Sydney in terms of CBA inside mids? Some neutral matchups. Port Doggies, Freo, St Kilda, North, Essendon, West Coast at the end. Look, it's not the best run either. It's fairly mid. But I do want Darcy for the run home, and I do want the Horny one because the Horny one is a good player. He's a great player. What's the season run like for Port? Yeah, it's also fairly mid. Neutral, tough, easy. I'd say maybe neutral, tough, neutral, easy. So it's not too bad. Not a bad month to end the season. So I would like the Horny one and Darcy, and I'd be very happy with that forward line mix there. It's not the worst. It's not a bad midfield. Hopefully, Merritt had the worst game I've ever seen from him. And he's still turned up in a 95-point demolition. Yeah, insane. So that's the team. There you go. 569,000 in the bank. Set up for next week. We'll see what happens. We're just going to bank on the fact that we've got 18 premiums and a good rookie in Johnson playing off halfback to hopefully give us a good week's worth of scoring. And then we can finish the team next week in round 16. And don't even tell me. I'm not even going to be watching football next week because it's going to be brutal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Because we'll have Darcy and Horne-Francis. 16 people. We've got 16 players next week. It's going to be brutal. But I don't care about this team. It's all about the community team, which is absolutely flying at the moment. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed what you had to hear or see here today, please drop me a like, subscribe if you're new, hit the notification bell, and let me know in the comments down below what sort of trades you're looking at doing. What sort of trades you reckon I should do? Do you approve of my moves, or do you think, Joe, this is just, you've lost the plot? Or necessary evil, same thing like what I had to do with trading out Gone 2 weeks ago. Necessary evil, had to cut off the arm to save the body, and such has been the season. I feel like I've really grown and learned a lot from this year, and it's just one of those seasons where a lot went wrong and missed a lot of the good rookies and a lot of the good cash generation players, and as a result, it has made things a lot harder, and we've had to really trade out a lot of premiums along the way and access equity in those players. So definitely have learned so much from this year. It has been a bit of a fresh air in terms of the learning experience. It has been brutal, but at the same time, it hasn't been so crushing to the point where I'm miserable playing this game. I've definitely set out earlier in the year that I wanted to have a positive mindset, that I wanted to play this game to have fun. And if things go wrong, so be it. Just learn from it what you can. And I'll definitely be keen to making a what I learned video later on in the year as well, as we get a bit, after we get out of these buy rounds and people are cruising towards the end. Definitely going to want to put together a what I've learned video and identify some of the big mistakes that I've made during the course of the year, and point out and explain why it was a mistake and probably what I should have done. Of course, hindsight is 2020, but you can certainly look back at some of those sliding door moments and help you guys not make a similar mistake, or understand the thought process and then maybe refine your own thought process as well. I'll also maybe look at some of the good things that I've done. I know at this point in time there might seem very few and far between. I know I definitely feel that way at the moment, but I think it's always good to sit back and reflect and see how you can improve, because at the end of the day, it is a game, and there is, of course, luck that goes into it. But like anything, you can control the amount of luck that you have. I'm just going to quickly use an example. Imagine now, as much as you can control as much as you can, but it's just simply about being aware. You're obviously not going to be in complete control of your destiny when it comes to someone flying out of nowhere and hitting you in the car and completely blindsiding you. But for example, if you're walking down the street, there is a way that you can protect yourself from not getting shat on by birds, for example. As you're walking, pay attention to your surroundings. Notice underneath this street pole that there is a bunch of crap on the floor and that there are a flock of birds in the sky on the line, on the power line, for example. If you simply were to keep walking under that bird, in that line of sight, in that line of path of the path, you have every chance that flock of birds can just drop a poo on you. But if you simply paid attention there and took a calculated approach and decided to walk around it, the chances of you getting shat on are substantially reduced. So you can, to an extent, control how much luck that you have. And there you have it, lads. All about controlling your luck as much as you can. It's not entirely out of your control. You can complain about various injuries that come up, but of course, there is something to be said about picking less injury-prone players. So just a little bit of a interesting way to end this episode. If you're still here, kudos to you. And I look forward to seeing you guys. If you're a member, I look forward to seeing you tomorrow night's Tuesday night members live stream. And if you're not a member, I will be seeing you, of course, on Thursday night for the drive home. See you guys. Have a good one.